This is Lorenzo, and this is the Training Map Taxonomy video series, video number 2. It's on the body's 9 dimensions. So for our first framework, as I mentioned, we can approach the lower body in terms of 2 hip planes, the sagittal and the frontal. Now, most of us are familiar with the body's 3 different planes, but if you're not, a plane is nothing but an imaginary flat surface that divides the body into different sections. So the sagittal plane here divides the body into right and left sections, and the frontal plane will divide the body here into the back and the front. So if I want to develop my hips or lower body in the sagittal plane, this would be like a squat, or in this case, I'm demonstrating the split squat hold. And what most people don't realize is that this will equally put an emphasis on the anterior quads or posterior glutes. So here and here. Now, in terms of the frontal plane, here I'm emphasizing more the lateral glutes, so on the side here, and also loaded flexibility on the adductors. What's also unique about this is you're introducing forces to the knee and the hip from different directions, and that's really the benefit here. Moving on to my second framework, when I think about core development, I think in terms of chains. So core development can be emphasized in anterior chains, posterior, as well as lateral dimensions. For example, the anterior chain, you're not just focusing on working abdominals, but the entire chain of the top of the abs, the lower abs, hip flexor, and even the quads. And this is known as tensegrity, or when you have integrity of tension throughout the entire chain. And so this is known as the hollow body hold, and it's one of the best ways to develop your anterior chain. Next, we have the posterior chain. This is going to be emphasizing the hamstrings, glutes, and erectors all at the same time. Next, we have the lateral chain, which is putting more of an emphasis on the obliques, as we can see here, and even to some extent, the abductors and adductors. As for upper body, I think in terms of vectors, the 4 different directions in which you can pull and press. Can you think in terms of chains and planes in these dimensions? Of course, but it's more useful to think in terms of vectors for the upper body, as you'll see in a moment. So the upper body development can be emphasized in terms of vertical and horizontal dimensions. For example, if we are pulling in the vertical direction, we will have something like the pull-up, and that's going to focus on the back and biceps. Next, we can also think of pressing in the vertical dimension, again, pushing up, and that's going to emphasize deltoids and triceps. We can also think about horizontal pulling, like a row here, and this will emphasize the mid-back or biceps. But again, I don't really think in terms of muscle groups per se, rather than mastering certain skills in different dimensions. And the byproduct will be the full expression of the muscle groups that you want to develop in the first place. Finally, we have horizontal pushing, which is what we see here with the push-up. And that will disproportionately put an emphasis on the chest muscles or the triceps. So in summary, and at the very least, we have 2 hip planes, 3 core chains, and 2 pull and 2 press vectors that we need to consider if we want to express the body's full potential.